Hi everybody, Kimberly of Starfish Design Embroidery Group. I am trying to demonstrate, if it'll work for me tonight, the new credit card add-on that'll be for Starfish members. For a short time I'll have it free, and then I'll move it over to the Etsy shop. This is the 5x7 that I'm trying to demo right now. I'm not going to do the completed bag tonight. I'm just doing, for the 5x7, I'm just going to do this because I already did attempt it. Where did I do it that quick? I attempted it, but the slots were a little too deep and the bag was a little too baggy. So I'm going to try it again, make some modifications and try it again. So tonight I'm just gonna, I'm sorry, I showed that so fast I don't even know if you could see it. Yeah, so this is the new carnival bag. I don't know what's going on with my zipper. This one, I think I got some thread stuck in there. It's not wanting to open. So, with the credit card slot, it does add a lot of bulk here. So, I'll show it when I do the add-on to the bag, but you can add some double stick tape. But I realized that I have another idea I'm going to do as well, so I'll show you that. But these were just a little bit baggy, so we're trying to use this a little bit heavier material today with no interfacing. This is a twill. Oops, it's a back. I will eventually do a small bag with this. So those are the wings. So what we're going to do, I've already gone ahead and stitched the centering lines. I just realized I didn't stitch the placement line for the, oh yeah, I did. I'm sorry. Okay, so we're going to place the extra material down here and then we're going to stitch that. So I have two centering lines here for you. So fold your material. I have a 4.5 inch by 23 inch rectangle. Initially, I'm only going to do the bag for one solid piece of material, but eventually I will release a version where if you want to do it scrappy and use up some scraps. So I'm just centering, I'm putting my seam allowance, because this is going to the extreme ends of the hoop. Let me grab my, well, it was here, my thingamajig, so I can point because my fingers are looking not too good today. So I want my seam allowance here, so you can see this is the the limits of the hoop. Basically I went as far as I could without extending past the hoop. So I'm going to just put a piece of tape down, and there is another centering mark on the other side. If you wanted to center, fold this in half longer, you can actually go ahead and finger crease it and then make sure that it's lined up on both ends. So again, I'm going to put about half an inch extension past that. Make sure it's even on both sides. And I'm going to put a piece of tape here. I'm going to put a piece on both sides. Then we're going to stitch our first fold line. So basically this is just a whole bunch of folds. Instead of me telling you, here, measure out this, measure out that, fold this, fold that, I've just digitized it for you. Make sure you manage your extra material hanging over your hoop, however your hoop needs to work. I'm going to hold on to my thread, and then we're going to run the first fold line. Now we're going to go ahead, you don't even have to remove it from the hoop. I will, just to show you. So we just have our first fold line, and we're going to fold this up even with that and tape it down. And throughout the project, you want to make sure, I'm holding this against a firm surface. I don't want to start folding this against a floppy surface. You want to make sure that you keep the sides straight as you go, and finger crease this. Again, I'm using a little bit heavier twill I'm going to try and use this tape as much as I can. So I don't know if this is going to work in the hoop bag, so it's going to be an interesting project, but I'm working on the plain bag series, so I'll test this with that 5x7 plain bag series. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to stitch the next fold line. I'm using green so you guys can see it better, but make sure you use thread that matches your project. Unless you have vision issues, then by all means use a contrasting thread so you can see it better. It's your bag. The only person who can tell you it doesn't look right is yourself. Okay, take that tape off. So now there's a little, oops, that one came out. There's just a few little nicks right there to help fold it down. So we're gonna fold it down. Try not to shred your thread on the material, and don't pull too hard. This is why I put those little tick sides there, because it'll help you prevent from pulling this too hard. I have been perfecting this technique. I don't know if anybody else, I know a couple people kind of, I don't know if they borrowed my idea or they saw it and came up with it on their own, but I was the only one doing this the first time I did it, and I've seen some other people doing it, so I don't know how they do it, but this is how I'm doing it. So I have perfected this a little bit since the first time I've designed this, just by adding a few little pieces here and there. So I have at least 6 patterns, maybe 7 patterns that involve folding for the pockets. And then of course Flat Bottom Girls, that whole bag series is involved with folding pleats to make the actual bottom. Okay, there we go. So now we're gonna fold up again. And again, you don't even need to remove this from the hoop. I'm only doing it to show you. Keep it against a firm surface. Keep your sides even. Finger press it. If you don't have fingernails, then get some kind of pressing device. Oh, I'm not going to keep taping this. This is kind of heavyweight because the tape for some reason is shredding this. So I'm just going to go ahead and hold it down. And I think it's tight enough. So I don't need to worry too much about it. Keep your hands out of the hoop. Hold them off to the side. I'm not sure why this is shredding like this, but I cut it close enough that I don't have the availability to lose all that if it takes away from it. Okay, one more. So now you can see the formation of our pockets starting. So I'm going to put this under here. Again, I'm going to fold this. I'm not going to pull too tight because I don't want to pull out my stitches up there. And I want to try and keep my finger pressing even across this whole area. If you need to get a ruler out to do that, go ahead and get a ruler out. But I'm just eyeballing it. And hopefully I did it right this time. Okay, put it back on here. And we're going to run step 6. So this is a whole bunch of series of stitches back and forth. You do need to be mindful, this adds a lot of bulk to your bag. So if you want to put this into a bag that has a very small opening, you might have a really hard time turning that bag. So you need to think about that when you're making the bag, and be prepared that you may end up having to tear the, there we go, last fold. You may have to end up tearing the opening wider and then fixing it, because there's a lot of bulk in these pockets. Even in a regular sewing machine bag, like I did on a sewing machine, when you add these credit card slots into it, it adds a lot of bulk and it makes it harder to turn. Oops, for some reason, oh, I think I might be out of bobbin. I was getting low. It didn't stitch that one, so I'm going to go ahead and pull it down. I'm close enough to out. And I think I got a little bit off kilter there So I'm actually gonna rip out that last row and refold it. And that's the beauty of doing this. There's no mistakes, you know. I mean, there's mistakes, right, Kimberly? But there's nothing that you can't recover from most of the time. Even my bag that I was just showing you, I don't know what happened on the last stitching, but I think I know I was tearing it when I was turning it. I could hear the tearing, but I thought it was just the lining. But it didn't. It got into the main body stitches. So I'm going to have to turn it right side out and fix it on my sewing machine. So you can see there those stitches got loose. And that's why I always say I don't close my bag until I've turned it totally right side out and make sure that it doesn't have any little mistakes in it. And I don't know how I got that off kilter, but I did. So I'm going to pull this out, just using my seam ripper. I'm going to refold it and see if I can get it a little bit better. There we go. It's okay if it's a little bit off kilter down there. I'd rather have my pockets even. All right. We're going to go back and redo that step. So back there. Okay. Try and keep your hands out of your stitching area here. There's some scraps there that's coming, driving me crazy. And then that's when this little guy is a good thing to use. And I still got a little bit of a pucker there. That's okay. We're just going to go with it. It's because I should have taped it down. Okay, so now we're on to our last stitch. And I'm going to fold that down against there. Oh, no, I have to redo that. I'm sorry. That's not okay. It's a puckery mess. Sorry. That's just not going to work. Oh, my goodness. But, you know, we keep our seam ripper handy. Siri, where's my seam ripper? We actually don't keep Siri handy. I'm not into all that Big Brother stuff. We don't have Alexa, and we have no business getting, no plans to get Alexa. Nope. Too much Big Brother for me. And we keep Siri on a need-to-know basis. I have everything turned off for Siri except navigation. When we're using navigation, all the apps are turned off. Okay, let me grab my little thingamajigger here again. Let's see if we can keep this guy straight. Okay, that's better. All right. I like that much better. Okay, now final fold. We're going to go ahead and fold this down. Again, keep it against your firm surface. And that stitch fell out. That's okay. I'm going to just decide over here is okay. So I know it's okay. All right, and I'm going to finger crease it. And you see I have a little bit extra. It's okay. I wasn't sure. I'd rather have a little bit extra than not enough. So I'm going to go ahead and tape this down. Yeah, I really got off kilter there. And then we're going to go ahead and run the steps for the placement of the wings. So we're going to do one side at a time. And I can see I forgot to reposition this file so that it starts here and goes back up. So I'm going to make sure that I watch this to make sure the presser foot does not get stuck on those little folds. And I have a very short seam allowance there, so I should have cut my fabric a little bit wider. All right, I'm only doing one side at a time because I find it just to be a lot less confusing for folks when you only do one side at a time. And so go ahead and pull the tape off if you used tape. All right, and then we're going to get one of our little wings. And we're going to place it so that the wrong side is down. I'm sorry, facing up. The right side is down. Make sure this top piece is even up here, and that way you'll know And then I'm actually going to overlap mine a little bit more than that since my bottom seam allowance was a little short. And then go ahead and put this on. And again, I'm going to, I don't know why this material is shredding like this. I've used this before for bag linings and I haven't had this issue. It's weird. All right, now we're going to go ahead and fold this open. And I'm not going to trim this anymore because it's already pretty tight. I'm going to finger crease it. And I would normally tape it down, but again, we've got shredding season over here, so I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to kind of hold it out of the way of the hoop here. And now we're going to top stitch it. I'm using some bright green top stitching. And there's a lot of bulk there. If your machine seems to be struggling, then consider changing your needle. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I made this a separate color stop so you have time to stop and work, but you go ahead and just stitch it. Oh, see, I'm way off there. Yeah, it's okay. The tack down stitch is going to be within here, but I should have cut that wider. The heck directions do I have on my file? It'll be right for you. Oh. I don't know what I had on there. I thought I cut these at 4.5, which should have been enough. I'm going to keep it even at the top and I'm going to overlap it slightly just because I'm short. All right, then I'm going to use my little thingamajig to help guide my fabric. All right, and then we're going to open it up, finger press it, open, and then we're going to do the top stitch. And now it's away from me, so I'm not really going to be able to hold it, so I'm just going to have to hope that it stays down. Guide it along here. Keep your fingers out of there. I don't know about you, but I have a high deductible insurance, and I don't have $4,000 to waste on surgery to get a needle out of my finger. Okay, we don't need to change the color here, but again, I put a color stop just to make it easier for you. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to run our top stitch basting all the way around, which is going to give us a center registration mark for lining this up in your bag. And I am going to do a video for the new Carnival bag with the larger credit card slot and show you how to do that. So I don't know how to do that fancy linking yet, but I will look for it. So there we go. So here is the center registration mark that you will use. What you'll do is let me just flip this out of the hoop. And you can just tear off the stabilizer, but you can hold on to trimming this until the very end when you're going to add it. So what you're going to do, at least on my bag, I'm not telling you how to do it in somebody else's bag. One of the last few steps in my bag is you put the lining on the back and you put the top of the lining panel at the top of the zipper. So what you're going to do is you're going to use your favorite measuring device and find the center of your zipper, and you're going to line this up. And if you have to pull this out because it's going to show later, you can, but I made it so it should get stuck in the regular stitching. But you're going to use this to line it up, and this here line is going to go on the top edge of your zipper. So you're going to line this up with the top of your zipper. So that's all for this video, and let's see if we got a little bit tighter of a slot. Yeah, we got a little bit tighter. So I will sorry, got distracted. I will continue this into the next video with the 6x10 and look in the subscription. If I can figure out how, I'll put it in the comments. Thanks, everybody.